If Hattrick were to implement one idea right now, a new format for the Hattrick Masters, player backgrounds regarding achievements or specialities, or some meaning to the player being chosen as the MVP, what would you choose? HT News for week 5 and 6, and we have a lot to talk about. Hey guys, it's Papa Mish, and it's been 2 weeks since the last video. I'm quite busy with my real life company, and the next couple of months gonna be crazy for me. So I'll try to make as much content as I can, but you could expect a lot of it after August. And for today, I have my little note to tell you what we're gonna talk about. It's gonna be the Hattrick Masters, cool design for players' background, small country and their cups, form schedule, MVP idea, 1K project, and national team players. We are approaching the final stages of the Hattrick Masters with the semi-finals to be played on Monday. But before the games, let me tell you a few interesting things that happened. First of all, we had a few upsets. In round number 4, Toro Rosso was eliminated by Pitacora. Also, Dundee de Tasmania, one of the two strongest longshot teams in the world, lost to Sega, a very strong Hungarian team. But the main thing, they lost on penalties, and that's one of the first time I see a longshot team, a super longshot team, losing a penalty shootout to a normal team. Then in the fifth round, also Pitacora beat Viajapura Vipers, the very strong team of Mekvotava. And in the quarterfinals, the big favorite to win the tournament, Los Serenios, lost to Meerkats Athletic again to a counterattack. He played a very strong formation and probably the replays were better for him, but he had no conditional changes to move to a more attacking formation in case of being behind, and eventually the counterattack surprised him again, just like the final of the Hattrick Masters of last season. Another interesting thing happened since round number 5. For the first time ever, the schedule for the Hattrick Masters was changed and the games were played at 4 HT time and not 8 HT time. The reason is because under 20 matches are being played at the same time, and next season, with the new World Cup format of the national teams, we'll have the national teams playing at the same day and the same time. And you could have a scenario when the same player is playing for a Hattrick Masters team and a national team at the same time, and maybe he'll get injured in one game and won't in the other. So that could cause bugs, and they changed it. But I don't really like the schedule because games to be played at 4 HT time, it's really diminishing Hattrick Masters. A lot of people are not watching it as it now, and if the games are in the evening, probably more people will watch, and I couldn't stream the games because of the schedule. So maybe in the future the Hattrick Masters format would be changed as well, because we're approaching the time that 8 rounds will not be enough with the amount of champions and cup holders that we could potentially have, and maybe we'll have a new revamped Hattrick Masters idea or format, maybe with group stages and then knockouts, I don't know. So a lot of happening, and the semi-finals to be played on Monday. We have the big favorite for now, Comandante Ernesto Che Guevara will be playing against Cerkese, and Meerkats Athletic will be playing against Bitacora. Probably Ernesto Che Guevara is the favorite, he's producing amazing ratings, and if he'll win, I could say I only lost to the champion, because Sneaky Cat lost to him in the round number 1. Now let's talk about player and avatar backgrounds. Kronfle, a manager from Ecuador, approached me and told me that he designed with Photoshop special backgrounds for players depending on their specialty. So a player without a specialty will have a normal background, but players with specialty will have special background, something like this. And I really like the idea. I even suggested before that we will have special backgrounds for players and managers depending on their achievements. If you won a consolation cup or a secondary cup, each player playing in the final and the manager will have a special background. You won the championship, you won the cup, you won the national team, you will have a special background for your avatar for the whole season or the next campaign, just to give some new cool looks. And I hope HT will take Kronfel's idea and implement it. We're approaching the middle of the season, and in a lot of small countries the cups are already finished, while in bigger ones it's just getting more interested. I was shared with this unfortunate match by the manager of the Titans, Adi from Romania. His longshot team was massively favored and the replays was 99 to 1 in his favor, but unfortunately suffered a great defeat in round number 5, an undeserved one. In smaller countries, things are already wrapped up. I'm happy to say that my sneaky cat made it again in the Ethiopian Cup run and I won the title. Another shout out is for the cup holder of Madagascar. The manager of Jake the Snake, Eric, made a wonderful and tough run, beating a lot of favorite teams, quarterfinals, semifinals, and the finals, all 2-1. If you have other interesting cup runs that you want to share in smaller or bigger countries, please do so in the comments. Victor from Spain is speaking about player form. He's saying that right now form is quite random in Hattrick. It could be only influenced by a form assistant and the level of your coach, and it's not really reliable. He is giving examples from other games like pro cycling, when every manager or every team has form points and you could allocate those points for your players in each week. So you could have all your players being in a good form in a certain week or for a certain period of time, and then their form decrease. So some maybe you will have an important match at the beginning of the season and you will allocate a lot of form points for your players there, so you could manage your form better. I'm not sure I really like this idea, but it's food for thought. Maybe something to be done here, maybe some other ways to influence or increase form, as it's very important in Hattrick. M5 from Italy is speaking about the match MVP. You know, the player being chosen as the best one after the game, and also you have the worst player on the pitch. No one really looks at this, it's not interesting, it has no influence about anything, and he's saying let's give this idea a bit more life, not only choosing the player with the highest stars as the match MVP and that's it. Give something more interesting. Maybe use the commentary in every game. If you have positive commentary on the player, it will increase the likelihood for him to be an MVP or not. And I even thought, let's make something a little bit more interesting. Maybe every player could have a personal fan base as we have a fan base for our clubs. And then if player being chosen a lot of times for the MVP, his fan base will grow. Maybe it will have a small effect on match attendance. If you have your best MVP playing the game, maybe you'll have a little bit more attendance, not something to really influence the monetary gain from a game. And also maybe if you sell a player, the fan base will reset for a new club, but give it some interest. The thread I love the most in the last 2 weeks is the 1K project from the Belgian manager Flying Freaks. He wants to rebuild his team in a new and cool way. Everyone is doing interesting projects. Homegrown things, cycle training for national teams, playing only with old players of age 35 and above, and he is looking for a fun project as well. And his idea is the Rejects United team. He will be using only players that are worth 1K. That's it. That's his restrictions. He wanted to buy all those 17-year-old and 60-day players no one really is using. Everyone is paying tons of money on the 1700 players. He is saying, I'm gonna take all the others that no one really wants and I will rebuild my team using only those players. I have suggested him to use also old players that are worth 1K, and he liked the idea, so he will be rebuilding his team with 17 old and a lot of these players all worth 1k, and he will be complementing the rooster with 1k oldies. Good luck, Flying Freaks. The last topic for today is another one by Flying Freaks, and this one is about anti-players. He mentioned that in Hattrick, most anti-players are being played in lower division by farm teams, unlike in real-life football when all the best players are playing in top clubs in top divisions. And he's raising the issue, saying maybe we should make Hattrick a little bit more realistic. And a lot of managers from national teams or former coaches or coaches said to him that this is the way Hattrick is being played. It's not like real life football. And the reason is obvious. To raise an anti-player, you probably need to sacrifice a lot of seasons of optimal training with excellent coach, two assistant coaches of level 5, and a doctor, not being competitive too much just to farm this player. And a top team cannot train this player. Maybe a top team could buy this player, but after buying him, the conditions won't be optimal for training, maybe just for maintaining high stamina if the player is old enough. And anti-players are expensive, so if top teams could always buy those players, they would stay at the top for the whole time. So where is the rotation? How lower division clubs could climb if all the top clubs could keep buying those anti-players all the time? That's an interesting issue. One thing that he mentioned, maybe to make experience change, that in top divisions each player will get a little bit more experience than in lower division. This way it won't be beneficial to only farm anti-players in lower division, as they are not gaining a lot of experience. But here we are again giving too much power for top divisions, and also what's happening in smaller countries. In smaller countries are less divisions, so they will inherently enjoy much more experience, and smaller countries already have a lot of advantages. So the idea is interesting. We need to think about it. I'm not sure there are good solutions, and I'm not sure we need to change something, but it's something to talk about. I would love to hear your comments. If Hattrick were to implement one idea right now, a new format for the Hattrick Masters, player backgrounds regarding achievements or specialities, or some meaning to the player being chosen as the MVP, what would you choose? And while you're thinking, hit that sub button and give me a like. I'll see you next time.